Auric had never imagined that a single message could change his life forever. He was sitting in the small, crowded living quarters of his apartment on Orvax 7, a trading hub for miners and merchants from nearby star systems. The room smelled faintly of oil and recycled air, and the faint hum of a generator ran in the background. He had spent most of his life fixing small ships, repairing engines, and dreaming of exploring the stars himself. But life rarely gave him surprises, or at least good ones. The message arrived in the middle of a regular day. A small notification blinked on his comm pad. The sender's name was unfamiliar. Executor Lorith, Estate of Taran Vaylor. Auric frowned. Taran Vaylor was a name he had only heard once in whispers at the docks, a distant relative, an uncle whose fame was greater than anyone could imagine. He was said to have built fleets, explored unknown star systems, and commanded ships that dwarfed entire planets in size. And now, apparently, something of Taran's had been left to Auric. The message was brief but precise. You have inherited the vessel known as Titan's Heart. Details are enclosed. Immediate boarding is recommended. Attached were coordinates to a remote docking station on the edge of the Orvax sector. Auric read and reread the words, feeling a strange mixture of excitement and disbelief. A ship, his inheritance? A ship the size of a city, as rumors said? His hands trembled, and for a moment he wondered if he should have ignored the message as some scam. But curiosity won. He grabbed his engineer's tool belt, stuffed a few essentials into a small pack, and booked the next transport shuttle to the coordinates. As the shuttle ascended from Orvax 7's dense atmosphere, Auric stared out the window. Stars streaked past as the engines roared, and he felt his chest tighten with anticipation. When the shuttle broke through the sector's outer orbit, the docking station came into view. And there it was, Titan's Heart. Auric had expected a large ship, perhaps a flagship-sized vessel. But what he saw made him stagger backward in his seat. Titan's Heart was unlike anything he had ever seen. Its hull stretched far beyond the size of any station he had ever visited. Towers of lights and antennae rose from its surface, shimmering faintly as if alive. The ship radiated power. Even from a distance, Auric could feel it, like a pulse reaching through the vacuum of space, calling to him. He blinked several times, unsure if his eyes were playing tricks. The shuttle pilot spoke through the comm, his voice small against the enormity of the sight. Careful, rookie. That's Titan's Heart. No one alive has fully explored it in decades. Decades? Auric whispered to himself, gripping the edge of his seat. His hands shook. I inherited this? The shuttle docked at one of the ship's many ports. As the ramp descended, Auric's heart raced. Every step toward the ship made him feel smaller, almost insignificant. Even the docking bay was massive, easily 10 times the size of the largest freighters he had worked on. Lights danced across the polished metal floor, and the hum of the ship's engines reverberated beneath his feet. A soft voice spoke inside his head, or perhaps it was coming from the ship itself. Welcome, Auric Vaylor, it said. Calm, clear, yet filled with something like amusement. I am Ellis, the ship's intelligence. I have been waiting for you. Auric froze. The AI's voice was smooth, almost human, and yet it carried the weight of centuries. He swallowed hard, trying to steady his racing heart. I'm the new owner? He asked, uncertain. Yes, Ellis replied, and the responsibility you have inherited is immense. Titan's Heart is more than a vessel. It is a city, a fortress, and a key to knowledge lost across the stars. Step carefully. Auric nodded, though he wasn't sure if the AI could see it. He took a deep breath and stepped fully into the docking bay. The air smelled faintly metallic but clean, and the lights above shimmered in patterns that seemed almost welcoming. He looked around and his jaw dropped. The interior of Titan's Heart was vast beyond imagination. Corridors stretched like streets, with walls lined with unknown metals and panels filled with blinking lights. There were massive lifts, gardens with glowing plants, and rooms so large they could hold entire communities. Ships smaller than freighters were docked inside, their crews long gone or absorbed into the ship's history. Auric's hands continued to shake. He ran his fingers over the railing of a nearby platform, feeling the vibrations of Titan's Heart's engines. The ship was alive. He could feel it, almost like it was testing him, seeing if he was worthy of command. Ellis guided him through the main corridors, explaining the basics. The ship responds to your touch, your voice, and even your intentions, the AI said. It is capable of interstellar travel, planetary defense, and even faster-than-light maneuvers beyond current technology. but it has remained dormant until you arrived. You are the key to awakening its full potential. Arik tried to take it all in. Every room, every hallway seemed to stretch on endlessly. Bridges that connected towers, observatories overlooking engine cores, and chambers with unknown devices made him feel like a child exploring a palace. He realized that even his wildest dreams of exploring the stars had not prepared him for this. They finally arrived at the Bridge of Infinity, the ship's command center. It was enormous, circular, and filled with controls, screens, and holographic displays that floated in the air. The center of the bridge held a massive control chair, a throne for the ship's master, surrounded by a circular array of consoles. Arik stepped forward slowly, each movement measured and careful. He hesitated before touching the main control panel. As his fingers made contact, a wave of energy pulsed through him. Titan's heart seemed to hum in approval. The lights above intensified, and the ship's engines gave a low, resonant roar. Arik staggered, gripping the console. It's alive, he whispered. Yes, Ella said, and it has recognized you as its master. But remember, Arik, it will also test you. Its systems are vast, and not all knowledge is safe or simple. You must learn, explore, and adapt, Arik's mind raced. He had inherited a ship older than most civilizations, more powerful than any known fleet, and filled with secrets he could barely imagine. The possibilities were endless, but so were the dangers. He thought about his life before this moment, repairing small ships, barely scraping by, dreaming of adventure. And now he was standing at the helm of a vessel that could change the course of the galaxy. He decided to explore further. Ellis guided him to the observation deck, which overlooked the endless expanse of space. Arik stared in awe as distant stars stretched across the darkness, nebulae glowing like massive fires and planets spinning in silence. He felt a strange connection to it all, as if Titan's heart had opened his eyes to a universe he had only glimpsed before. Where do we go first? Arik asked, almost in a whisper. That will depend on you, Ellis replied. You may wish to explore, defend, or discover. But know this, others will notice the activation of Titan's heart. Not all will come with peace in their hearts. Arik shivered. The thrill of adventure was mixed with unease. He had no idea what dangers awaited, but he knew one thing clearly. His life had changed forever. For the first time, he felt the weight of responsibility, but also the strength that came with it. Titan's heart was more than a ship. It was a legacy, a challenge, and a promise. And as Arik stood on the bridge, hands still shaking but steadying, he knew he was ready, or at least he hoped he was. A distant rumble echoed through the ship, like a heartbeat. Titan's heart was awake, and the galaxy might never be the same again. Arik took a deep breath, looked out at the stars, and whispered to himself, "Let's see what we can do." And with that, the largest ship in the galaxy, once dormant and waiting for its master, began to stir, ready to journey into the unknown with a young human at its helm. Arik spent the first night aboard Titan's heart in a state of restless wonder. Though he managed to sleep in one of the ship's spacious quarters, his mind kept drifting to the endless corridors, strange machinery, and the faint hum that pulsed through every wall. By dawn, he was already awake, eager to begin his exploration. Ellis greeted him in a calm, smooth voice as he left his room. "Good morning, Arik. Today we begin your first tour of Titan's heart's functional systems. There is much to see, and you will need to learn quickly." Arik nodded, brushing a hand over his hair. I still can't believe I'm here. It's huge. I can't even picture it all at once." "You never need to picture it," Ellis replied. "Step by step you will understand. Titan's heart is alive. It adapts, responds, and even learns, and it expects the same from you." The first area they visited was the engine core. The room was vast, stretching over several city blocks with massive energy conduits glowing with blue and gold light. Humanoid maintenance drones floated around, repairing systems that had not been used in decades. Arik's eyes widened as he stepped closer to the core. "It's enormous," he whispered. "What powers it?" "The engine runs on a combination of zero-point energy and fusion cores," Ellis explained. "Its output is enough to move entire planets, yet it can operate quietly if needed. It is designed to be versatile, not just powerful." Arik reached out, running his fingers along one of the conduits. He felt a faint vibration, almost like a heartbeat. A thrill ran through him. Here was power beyond imagination, and it was responding to him, acknowledging him as its master. Next, Ellis guided him to the habitation and research zones. Titan's Heart was not just a warship. It was a city in space. Towering gardens with glowing plants provided oxygen and food. Laboratories lined the walls, filled with tools and instruments that seemed far beyond current human technology. Rooms for sleeping, training, and even entertainment stretched endlessly, connected by wide corridors. This ship, Arik said slowly, it's more than a ship. It's a whole world. Yes, Ellis said. Your ancestor intended Titan's Heart to be self-sufficient. It was designed to travel through the galaxy without resupply for decades if necessary. Many who see it mistake it for a warship alone, but it is capable of much more. Arik's curiosity pushed him forward. He wandered into the navigation and observation deck, a massive room with windows that offered a breathtaking view of the stars. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing star systems, unknown planets, and ships moving in distant sectors. Arik ran a hand through the controls, feeling them respond effortlessly to his touch. Can it really travel faster than light? He asked. Ellis's tone carried a note of quiet pride. Yes. Titan's Heart can traverse star systems in a fraction of the time other ships require. But such speed must be used carefully. There are dangers in the void, and not all beings welcome strangers with open arms. Arik's excitement grew, but so did a sense of responsibility. He remembered Ellis's warning. Others would notice the ship. If Titan's Heart's presence became known, some might come seeking it, not for friendship. They moved next to the defense systems. Arik expected conventional weapons, but what he found surpassed even the wildest rumors. Massive energy cannons, drone squadrons, and planetary-scale shields filled entire hangars. Artificial gravity fields allowed ships to dock at unusual angles, and automated turrets could defend the ship with near-perfect precision. It's incredible, Arik said, but I've never commanded anything like this. How will I control it? Ellis guided him to a command interface, a room filled with holographic panels that responded to thought, voice, and gesture. The ship is designed to respond to you as a whole. It interprets your intentions, not just commands. That is why it must trust you. Today we begin building that trust. Arik hesitated before placing his hands on the panels. A surge of energy passed through him, and the ship responded immediately, displaying maps, system status, and hidden compartments that even he could not have imagined. Titan's Heart was alive, and it was testing him, measuring his decisions, his reactions, and his instincts. They then explored the hidden archives. Ellis explained that these rooms held the records of generations of explorers, engineers, and commanders who had used Titan's Heart before him. Star charts older than most civilizations, records of long-lost worlds, and treaties signed with alien species filled the shelves and displays. Arik ran his fingers over one of the holographic projections, and the history of a forgotten civilization appeared in front of him. Civilizations rose and fell, wars were fought, and discoveries were made, all documented by the ship. He realized that Titan's Heart was not just powerful. It was wise, holding the knowledge of centuries. This is more than I could ever imagine, he whispered. Yes, Ellis said. Knowledge is as powerful as any weapon, and one day you may need it. As they moved deeper into the ship, Arik began to notice strange signals on the sensors. Small blips, distant and faint, but moving in patterns that suggested intelligence. He asked Ellis about them. Unknown vessels, the AI said. They are drawn to Titan's Heart. Your activation has signaled your presence. You must be cautious. Not all who approach are friendly. Arik felt a thrill mixed with unease. He had dreamed of adventure, but now it seemed that danger might be closer than he expected. Still, he felt a growing confidence. He had survived every challenge so far, and Titan's Heart responded to him in ways that made him feel capable. They reached the training zones next. Unlike any gym Arik had seen, these rooms allowed him to simulate zero-gravity maneuvers, piloting exercises, and even combat strategies against holographic enemies. He realized that the ship expected him to be ready for anything, from exploration to defense. Arik spent hours practicing, learning to move as the ship moved, to think as the ship thought. Each session strengthened his bond with Titan's Heart, and each time he left the training zone, he felt a little more like a commander and less like an awed apprentice. As the day drew to a close, Arik stood on one of the observation decks looking out at the stars. He felt a sense of calm and purpose. Titan's Heart was no longer just a ship he had inherited. It was a partner, a guide, and a challenge. You are learning quickly, Ellis said. But tomorrow brings new tasks. There are systems yet untouched, secrets yet uncovered, and choices that will test your judgment. Prepare yourself, Arik. The galaxy is watching, and Titan's heart will not be idle for long. Arik nodded, feeling both excitement and anticipation. He knew the AI was right. The moment he activated Titan's heart, he had stepped onto a stage far larger than anything he had imagined. And somewhere out there, unknown ships were moving toward him, drawn by the awakening of a vessel that had slept for centuries. He touched the railing of the observation deck, feeling the hum of Titan's heart beneath him. The ship responded with a gentle pulse as if reassuring him that it would follow his lead. Arik's hands, which had trembled so much when he first entered, were now steadier. Confidence grew with every step he took inside the massive ship. Tonight he would rest again, but sleep would be different. He would dream not of distant planets he might visit, but of the ship itself, its halls, its engines, and the unknown adventures waiting among the stars. Titan's heart was vast, powerful, and mysterious, and now it was his. For the first time, Arik understood that his life had changed forever. The galaxy might not know him yet, but soon it would, and whether they came seeking friendship or conquest, he and Titan's heart would be ready. A low rumble echoed through the ship as if Titan's heart itself was stretching, testing its new master. Arik smiled, feeling the hum in his bones. The adventure had only just begun, and the galaxy was wide, full of wonders and dangers alike. And he would meet them all, because now he was not just a man. He was the master of the largest ship the galaxy had ever seen. The day Arik decided to take Titan's heart into open space, the excitement and nervousness in him battled for dominance. He had explored the ship for hours, learned the basics of its controls, and trained with Elis on simulations. But now it was time for the real test. The ship had awakened, and it was time to see how it moved beyond the docking station. Arik walked to the Bridge of Infinity, his steps echoing across the massive corridors. Elis greeted him calmly, though Arik sensed a faint hum of anticipation beneath the AI's usual tone. "Are you ready?" Elis asked. Arik exhaled slowly. "I think I am. I've spent enough time inside to know how she works. Let's see if we can fly this giant." The bridge was alive with activity, though the only other presence was the faint shimmer of Elis's holographic form. Lights blinked across panels, and the ship's hum grew stronger as Arik approached the main console. He placed his hands on it, feeling the familiar pulse that had guided him through the last 2 days. Titan's heart responded immediately, scanning his intentions, aligning its systems to his will. The docking clamps released with a metallic groan that echoed through the massive hangar. Slowly, Titan's heart lifted from the station, its engines glowing brighter with energy. The smaller ships around it seemed like toys compared to its massive bulk. Arik felt a thrill he had never known as the ship cleared the station's atmosphere. Once in open space, he activated the ship's sensor array. Hundreds of star systems appeared on the holographic displays, some familiar, most completely unknown. Elis spoke. "We are currently in the outer Orvac sector. Long-range scans detect several vessels approaching. Unknown signatures, small fleets. Their speed is low, but they are aware of Titan's heart's activation. I recommend caution." Arik leaned closer to the controls. "Unknown fleets? Are they hostile?" "Possibly. It is too soon to determine their intent. Many will come seeking power, information, or conquest. Some may be curious. All will be cautious." Arik's excitement sharpened with tension. He had dreamed of space adventures, but he had never considered that his first voyage could bring potential threats. Still, he reminded himself, he had Titan's heart. Nothing like this ship existed anywhere else. If anyone wanted a fight, they would get more than they expected. He activated the engines fully, feeling the pulse of power under his hands. Titan's heart moved with a fluidity that surprised him, despite its massive size. Stars streaked past the observation windows as the ship accelerated, and he felt the thrill of speed unlike anything he had experienced in smaller crafts. Hours passed as Arik explored the ship's capabilities. He discovered gravity control fields, allowing him to adjust sections of the ship to simulate artificial gravity variations. The weapon systems responded instantly to his gestures, activating drones and turrets on command. Hidden compartments revealed supplies, repair stations, and even long-forgotten alien artifacts. Elis guided him patiently. Titan's heart adapts to your decisions. The more you explore, the more it learns your style. This is why it has remained dormant for centuries. Only a worthy master can awaken its full potential. Arik smiled faintly. I just hope I'm worthy. As he continued his voyage, the sensors detected movement from one of the distant fleets. A cluster of ships had approached the sector at high speed. Ellis analyzed their signatures. 3 fleets approaching independently. Their technology differs, but all are drawn by the presence of Titan's heart. They may attempt to communicate or challenge us. Arik felt a knot in his stomach. This was no simulation. Real alien ships were heading toward him, and he had to make his first decisions as a commander. Prepare the defensive drones, he said, trying to keep his voice steady, and activate the shields. Let's see who has courage enough to come close. Ellis responded with efficiency. Sections of Titan's heart that had remained dormant for centuries came alive. Massive shields hummed around the ship. Energy cannons rotated into position, and hundreds of drones were deployed to patrol the surrounding space. Arik watched through the observation deck as the first alien ships appeared. They were sleek, fast, and clearly built for combat. Their pilots or controllers had clearly underestimated Titan's heart, thinking it a relic or an unclaimed vessel. Arik's hands flew over the control panels, directing drones, adjusting shields, and scanning the alien fleets. The hum of the ship felt almost like a heartbeat beneath him, giving him confidence. For the first time, he felt truly connected to Titan's heart. The first alien fleet sent a message through subspace comms. A voice harsh and commanding demanded that Titan's heart surrender. Arik hesitated for a fraction of a second. Then he remembered Ellis's words. The ship would follow his decisions. Respond with this, he said firmly. Titan's heart is commanded by a human. Approach at your own risk. There was silence for a moment. Then the fleet shifted formation, sending a small scouting vessel closer. Titan's heart reacted instantly, and drones intercepted the ship, scanning it thoroughly but without aggressive action. Ellis spoke in Arik's mind. Your approach is cautious and intelligent. The fleets will test you. Observe and adapt. The scouting vessel sent another message, this time a visual projection of its commander. Arik studied it carefully. The alien had multiple limbs, its armor sleek and metallic, with eyes that glowed like twin suns. Its posture was confident, almost arrogant. We know of Titan's heart, the alien said. Many have tried to claim it. None have succeeded. Turn back, human, or face consequences. Arik swallowed hard. He was no warrior, not yet. But he realized that Titan's heart itself could protect him, and more importantly, he could make decisions that no single alien fleet could predict. We do not seek conflict, Arik replied through the translator. But this ship is claimed. We will defend it if necessary. The alien commander's eyes narrowed and the vessel pulled back, sending signals to the other 2 fleets. Arik watched tensely as they discussed in a language he did not understand. Then, unexpectedly, one of the alien fleets attempted a stealth approach, thinking they could bypass Titan's heart's defenses. Ellis alerted him immediately. They are using cloaking technology. They believe Titan's heart cannot detect them. They are wrong. Arik activated the ship's long-range sensors and the hidden fleet appeared on the displays, glowing faintly as Titan's heart illuminated them with energy pulses. Drones swarmed to intercept. The alien ships were fast and aggressive, but the drones moved faster, using maneuvers no conventional ship could perform. Arik directed the engagement with precision. He did not panic. He relied on Titan's heart's AI, his own instincts and the lessons he had learned from the ship's training zones. The alien vessels were pushed back without a single human injury or critical damage to the ship. Ellis's voice was calm, almost approving. You are adapting well. Your instincts, combined with Titan's heart systems, make you formidable. Arik felt a surge of confidence. For the first time, he was not just a human with a massive ship. He was a commander capable of outthinking advanced alien fleets. After the engagement, the fleets retreated, their intentions unclear but cautious. Arik knew this was only the beginning. His activation had sent a signal across the galaxy. Word of Titan's heart and its human commander would spread quickly. As the tension eased, Arik moved to the observation deck again. Stars and planets stretched infinitely before him, and he felt a strange mix of awe and determination. He realized that Titan's heart was not just a ship to explore. It was a tool, a weapon, and a key to understanding the galaxy. Ellis's voice broke the silence. You have passed your first test, Arik. But be aware. Intelligence and diplomacy will be as important as combat in the days to come. Not all fleets will flee as these did. Some will challenge you, and some may attempt deception. Arik nodded. Then we prepare, we learn, and we respond when needed. For the first time, he felt a deep bond with Titan's heart. The massive ship was not just an inheritance. It was alive, aware, and connected to him. He could feel its pulse, its power, and its intelligence. And as he stared into the depths of space, he realized that this was only the first chapter of a story that would stretch across the galaxy. Arik knew there would be challenges. There would be enemies, unknown systems, and choices that could affect thousands, even millions. But he was no longer the uncertain, trembling human who had stepped onto the ship days ago. He had begun his transformation into a master of Titan's heart, a commander capable of facing the galaxy's unknown threats. As Titan's heart glided through space, Arik allowed himself a small smile. The adventure had begun, and for the first time in his life he felt fully alive. He was no longer a dreamer on a small planet. He was a human commanding the galaxy's largest ship, ready to face whatever the stars had in store. And somewhere beyond the sensors, hidden fleets and curious civilizations began to notice a new force in the galaxy, a force unlike any other, guided by the courage, ingenuity, and determination of a single human. The journey had only just begun. Arik had spent weeks aboard Titan's heart now, learning its secrets, mastering its systems, and growing into the role of a commander. The ship no longer felt alien to him. Its corridors, chambers, and engine rooms were familiar, almost like a second home. Ellis, the ship's AI, had become more than a guide, almost like a mentor, patiently pushing him to understand the full potential of the massive vessel. But mastery, Ellis reminded him, was not just about knowledge or skill. It was about intuition, adaptability, and courage. Today, Arik would be tested. A message arrived on the long-range comms. It was not from a fleet, but from a small rogue faction operating at the edge of the Orvax sector. Their ships were unregistered, fast, and heavily armed. Intelligence suggested they sought Titan's heart, believing it unclaimed and unprotected. They intend to board the ship, Ellis said, her tone calm but serious. They are confident in their stealth and speed. They do not yet know who commands Titan's heart. Arik felt a surge of adrenaline. This was the first time he would defend the ship in a real, immediate confrontation. He walked to the bridge, eyes scanning the holographic displays, hands steady despite the tension in his chest. "Prepare defensive drones," he said, his voice firm. "Activate shields to full strength. Keep the engines ready for evasive maneuvers." Titan's heart responded instantly, humming with energy. Massive shields formed around the ship, drones swarmed into patrol formations, and energy cannons rotated into position. Arik could feel the power under his hands, the pulse of the ship responding to his will. Through the observation panels, he watched the rogue ships approach. Their cloaking systems flickered under Titan's heart sensors, revealing faint outlines as they attempted to move past the defenses. "They think they can sneak in," Arik muttered. "Let's prove them wrong." He activated a sensor pulse, a wave of energy that scanned the surrounding space. The rogue ships appeared clearly on the displays, and the drones immediately moved to intercept. The smaller vessels tried to evade, but Titan's heart's drones were faster, more precise, and coordinated in ways that no human fleet could match without the ship's guidance. The first wave of attackers fired, energy bolts streaking through space. Titan's heart responded automatically, shields absorbing the damage while the drones moved in for non-lethal disabling strikes. Arik had given the command to avoid destruction if possible. The rogue pilots were skilled, but Titan's heart was more so. As the engagement continued, Arik realized the ship was teaching him. Each system responded not only to his commands but anticipated potential threats. Energy channels rerouted power to shields when drones were engaged. Weapon systems adjusted targeting based on speed and trajectory. Titan's heart seemed to predict in small ways what Arik would need next. "They are trying to board from the aft section," Ellis warned. "Prepare countermeasures." Arik activated a gravity field manipulation, creating a barrier that made boarding difficult. The rogue ships tried again, but drones intercepted them before they could launch boarding pods. The alien pilots were clever, using decoys and feints, But Titan's heart's intelligence, combined with Aric's decisions, was flawless. Aric realized something crucial. The ship did not just follow orders, it enhanced his intuition, working with him as a partner rather than a tool. This realization filled him with confidence. He was no longer simply defending, he was commanding a force unlike any in the galaxy. The battle continued for hours. Aric used a combination of defensive maneuvers, drone swarms, and clever feints to outwit the attackers. Every decision he made was magnified by Titan's heart's systems, and every response from the rogue faction was met with adaptation. Finally, the rogue fleet signaled surrender. Their ships disengaged, retreating under the overwhelming presence of the massive vessel. Aric exhaled, feeling both exhaustion and exhilaration. He had defended Titan's heart, not with raw power, alone, but with strategy, adaptability, and partnership with the ship. Ellis spoke in a calm tone, almost proud. You have passed your first real test, Aric. The galaxy is beginning to understand that Titan's heart is no longer dormant, and its commander is not to be underestimated. Aric smiled faintly, feeling a warmth of pride. It's not just me, he said. It's the ship. We did it together. After the battle, Aric took a moment to explore one of the hidden chambers Ellis had unlocked after the defense sequence. It was a room filled with holographic star charts, ancient texts, and alien artifacts. Some of the technology was far beyond human understanding. The room seemed like a bridge to the galaxy's forgotten past. Your ancestor, Ellis explained, traveled widely and recorded knowledge that many thought lost. Titan's heart has preserved it, waiting for a master capable of understanding it. You have begun to earn that trust. Aric ran his fingers over a holographic star map, noting star systems he had never heard of. He realized that Titan's heart was not just a ship for travel or battle. It was a library, a fortress, and a vessel of exploration all in one. For the next few days, Aric continued to explore Titan's heart. He discovered training zones for zero-gravity maneuvers, simulation chambers where he could practice piloting against alien fleets, and environmental chambers that allowed him to experiment with alien flora and fauna preserved aboard the ship. Every discovery strengthened his bond with the vessel. Ellis guided him through advanced systems, energy redirection, planetary scanning, and even limited teleportation technology. Aric realized that the ship could travel not just across space, but with precision that allowed it to respond to events faster than conventional fleets. One evening, while reviewing sensor logs, Aric detected faint signals from a distant sector. They were subtle, almost hidden among natural energy readings, but Ellis identified them as intelligent movement, likely a fleet that had noticed the engagement with the rogue faction. They are observing, Ellis said. Your actions are now known across multiple systems. Some will come as friends, others with hostility. The galaxy is beginning to take notice. Aric felt a mixture of anticipation and caution. He had proven himself once, but he knew that challenges would grow. The galaxy was vast, full of civilizations, some curious, some aggressive, and some desperate for power. Titan's heart would not go unnoticed. He spent the night on the observation deck, watching distant stars shimmer. The ship's hum pulsed beneath his feet, steady and reassuring. He realized that his hands, once trembling when he first entered Titan's heart, were now steady. Confidence had replaced fear, and awe had become understanding. Ellis spoke softly, almost like a companion. You are learning the ways of the galaxy, Aric. Your choices, courage, and creativity define your command. Titan's heart will follow your will, but it will also challenge you. Never forget that true mastery is not in power alone, but in wisdom and strategy. Aric nodded, feeling the weight and responsibility of his role. He was not just a human aboard a massive ship. He was a commander, an explorer, and a guardian. The decisions he made now could affect countless lives and star systems. As he looked out at the stars, he allowed himself a small smile. For the first time, he felt fully connected, not just to Titan's heart, but to the vast galaxy beyond. Every light, every shadow, and every distant planet was now part of his journey. Tomorrow, he knew, would bring new tests. Perhaps alien fleets, perhaps unexplored worlds, perhaps secrets hidden deep within Titan's heart itself. But he was ready. He had learned to think like the ship, anticipate threats, and make decisions faster than any alien fleet could predict. The galaxy had noticed Titan's heart, and it had noticed him. But Arik was not afraid. He had the ship. He had knowledge. And most importantly, he had human ingenuity, courage, and determination, a combination no alien force could fully anticipate. Titan's heart's engines pulsed with power, a heartbeat across the stars. And as Arik stood on the bridge, hands steady and eyes focused, he knew that he was no longer simply an heir of a massive vessel. He was its master, and a force to be reckoned with in a galaxy that was about to witness humanity in a way no one had expected. The adventure had only begun, but Arik felt ready for every challenge. With Titan's heart beneath him and the galaxy ahead, there was nothing he could not face. Arik had grown into his role as the master of Titan's heart. The ship no longer seemed endless and overwhelming. Every corridor, chamber, and control panel felt familiar, like a part of him. The battles with rogue factions had honed his instincts, and the galaxy had begun to take notice of the massive vessel commanded by a single human. Yet he knew the ultimate challenge was still ahead, proving that humanity, through him and Titan's heart, could stand as a force in the galaxy. The first signs came as a delegation from the Galactic Council, a coalition of advanced civilizations governing interstellar trade and diplomacy. Their fleet appeared at the edge of Orvac space, sleek ships glinting in distant starlight. Sensors confirmed their identity, and their communication array activated immediately. Titan's heart, a commanding voice boomed across subspace. "We have observed your activation. You are a human in command of an unparalleled vessel. Report your intentions immediately." Arik studied the fleet through the observation deck, hands resting on the main console. He had learned that diplomacy was as critical as combat. Overconfidence could invite conflict, but caution without strength could be interpreted as weakness. He took a deep breath. "This is Arik Vaylor," he replied calmly. "Titan's heart is my responsibility. I have awakened it not to dominate, but to explore, protect, and ensure stability in sectors where danger or uncertainty threatens peace. I seek communication and cooperation, not conflict," Ellis added quietly. "The Council is evaluating your response. Their sensors and analysis are precise. Tone, word choice, and even pause lengths are being interpreted." The response from the Council was slow, deliberate. Minutes stretched into an hour as their ships held formation, weapons charged but inactive. Then a message came through, formal but respectful. "We acknowledge your claim. Your ship's capabilities exceed anything in current Council records. The galaxy is changing, and humans, through you, are now a part of that change. We request a meeting aboard Titan's heart to understand your intentions directly." Arik felt a mix of excitement and tension. This was a historic moment. He had defended the ship from rogue factions, but now he would meet the leaders of multiple advanced civilizations, face to face, in his command. "Prepare the guest chamber and observation platforms," he said. "We will host them aboard Titan's heart." Titan's heart responded immediately. Massive docking bays extended outward, creating platforms for the Council ships to link up. Energy shields flared to protect both the vessel and the incoming delegates. The hum of the engines pulsed like a heartbeat, steady and powerful. Arik could feel Titan's heart acknowledging the importance of the moment. The delegates arrived, stepping into the vast halls of the ship. Each was from a different species, with unique physiology and cultural presence. Some were tall, lithe beings with glowing patterns on their skin. Others were armored, metallic entities with limbs arranged in unusual configurations. All regarded Arik with curiosity, some with skepticism. Ellis spoke softly to Arik. "Remember, Arik, first impressions matter. They are assessing not just your words, but your demeanor, decision-making, and how you interact with Titan's heart." Arik took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Welcome to Titan's heart," he said. "This ship has served generations of explorers and guardians, but it is under my command now. I intend to use it wisely, to protect, explore, and ensure peace in the galaxy. I hope we can work together for the benefit of all civilizations." A silence followed, heavy but not uncomfortable. The Council members studied him, then conversed among themselves in rapid, melodic tones. Finally, the lead delegate, a tall figure with luminous eyes, spoke. "Your words are measured. Your intent seems genuine, but power such as Titan's hearts can tempt even the most honorable. How can we trust that a single human can wield such force responsibly? Arik nodded, understanding the concern. I do not claim to be perfect nor omniscient. But Titan's heart is not just a weapon, it is intelligent, capable of advising, guiding, and even restraining. I have learned to listen to it, to act with judgment. Power alone is meaningless without wisdom. The council members regarded him, some visibly impressed. Ellis's voice chimed in gently. Arik has faced rogue factions and defended Titan's heart successfully. He adapts, learns, and commands with insight beyond his years. The council murmured among themselves, clearly weighing the situation. After a pause, the lead delegate spoke again. Very well, Arik Vaylor. We will acknowledge your command and recognize humanity's presence in galactic affairs through you and Titan's heart. But know this. Many will test your resolve, and some may challenge your authority. The galaxy is vast and unpredictable. Arik nodded solemnly. I understand. And I am ready. Over the next few weeks, Arik used Titan's heart to establish contact with distant star systems. He helped resolve trade disputes, protected unarmed exploration vessels from pirate attacks, and charted previously unknown regions of space. His reputation grew quickly. Aliens who had once dismissed humans as minor players now spoke of the human commander of Titan's heart, with a mixture of awe and caution. Through it all, Arik's hands never shook. He had learned to act decisively, trust his instincts, and coordinate with Titan's heart seamlessly. The ship's systems responded to his thoughts and commands as if they were extensions of his own body. He discovered hidden corridors, secret laboratories, and ancient archives within Titan's heart that offered knowledge lost to time. One day, while exploring the archival chambers, Arik discovered a series of encrypted logs from Terran Vaylor, his ancestor. The messages revealed the vision behind Titan's heart, a vessel not meant merely for war but for unity. Terran had foreseen that one day, someone capable of understanding both the ship and humanity's potential would awaken it. That someone was Arik, this ship. It was waiting for me, Arik whispered. He ran a hand over the control panel, feeling Titan's heart's pulse respond gently, almost like reassurance. Ellis spoke softly. It waited for a master who could balance power with responsibility, curiosity with caution. You have proven yourself worthy. Arik felt a deep sense of pride, but he also felt humility. The galaxy was full of unknowns, and he knew that Titan's heart, while powerful, was only part of the story. It was human courage, ingenuity, and wisdom that would define the impact he could make. The culmination of his journey came when a diplomatic summit was held in orbit around the neutral planet, Virelia. Leaders from dozens of civilizations arrived, each curious about Titan's heart and its human commander. Arik stood at the bridge, addressing the delegates via hololink, his calm voice carrying across vast distances. Titan's heart represents the potential of humanity and the possibilities of cooperation across species, Arik said.